What's up, everybody? A relatively quiet weekend for RLCS this weekend. On Saturday, we had day 3 of the grid for North America, and today on Monday, we'll have day number 4. I was actually trying to figure out what to do for a video, and the only thing that could really pop up into my head is like Dragon Ball Z, you know, at the end of episodes where there used to be like, next episode on Dragon Ball Z, and then it would be like some like crazy voiceover of the guy being like, trying to build up some hype about stuff. That's the only thing I could think of while trying to figure out this intro. So I'm not going to do that because I would suck at it. But I've been watching a lot of anime lately. It's pretty much where my head's at. What's up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. Jokes aside, in the intro, in today's video, we're going to recap some of the events that have been going down, as well as things to expect with the second regional coming up. We've got some new teams that have qualified, so we'll be breaking that down. We're going to break this video into 3 different parts. First part is going to be recapping and showcasing the matches from the grid on last Saturday in round number 3. We've also are going to preview the matches that are happening today in round 4. And then we're going to take a look at the North American Spring Split for regional number 2 and the matches and teams that have qualified there. The only downfall of that regional is we do not know what teams are in groups yet, but we do have the teams that have qualified. So first things first, let's take a look at the recap from last Saturday, day 3 of the grid for North America Spring Split. You should be able to see all the rounds, all 4 of them, for match day number 3 on your screen. If you guys do want more information on these, and I don't know how many of you know, there's a lot of people that have been struggling trying to find the schedule. Link in the description down below. If you actually go to the main display of the grid, like the entire overview, you scroll down next to like where the prize pool is, you should be able to see individual dates where you can find all the matches. But round 1, you can see pretty much all the high seeds take victories. United, G2, Energy, and Oxygen as expected, although Oxygen pretty close match against Charlotte Phoenix. In round number 2, Oxygen, unfortunately, La Familia continues to be winless. Xset is on a tear, only 1 loss, and that came from version 1 in round 2. I'm pretty sure, I think in day 2. PK bounces back over United. Alpine's been struggling quite a bit. Kansas City Pioneers staying competitive. Energy continues dominance. G2 continues dominance. The G2 Rogue series was actually a really good one, going to 5. Been fun to watch the development of Drees on that roster. Space Station versus V1. V1 started off okay, but then got smacked. And then Envy ends up winning a close series against FaZe 3-2. In round 3, you got version 1 versus G2. Both teams looked pretty poor, but V1 does stop a reverse sweep. There's 4 overtimes in that series. Even though it's supposed to be exciting, I don't recommend watching it. It was just bad gameplay, if I'm being completely honest. And that's coming from the person who casted it. Envy and Space Station, another close series as always. Envy and Space Station put up good fights. And even though Space Station's been looking really, really good, Envy as well. There's this talk of a little bit of like a slump per se with some of these teams, but it's just because Envy hasn't found themselves in a grand final in a really long time. Still a very talented team. Xset ends up beating FaZe, which was crazy. Didn't see that one coming. So whatever Xset is doing in the grid, I'm curious if they can recreate that in the upcoming week when it comes to what happens in regionals. But Xset has been playing well. They've had a pretty tough matchups, but for some reason they're like, what, 7-1 or something like that right now? 8-1? They're 7-2 right now. They're playing really well. Their only losses come from version 1 and Envy. Pretty nuts. Sonics over Alpine, Kansas City Pioneers over United. You've got Oxygen over PK, and then Charlotte Phoenix over La Familia. Round 4, last and final round. You got Space Station versus Rogue. Space Station wins that one. You've got version 1 3-0ing FaZe. Before this, FaZe was 8-0 over version 1. I was a little bit nervous in the middle of casting this one with version 1, the way they looked against G2. I'm like, this is bad. And then version 1 comes out ready to play and put up a pretty good fight. Primarily just didn't let AJ play, just demoed him the whole time. Was an entertaining series for sure. And FaZe does keep it close. 3-2, 1-0, 4-3 with 2 OTs in there. It is a nail biter. Last, Envy versus Xset. Xset puts up another wonderful fight. I don't know what they've been drinking and sipping on, but it's working. And then PK versus Alpine. PK takes the victory there. So those are all your matches for day 3. Let's take a look at the matches for day 4. So at the very top, again, you can see these in the overview and stuff. I'll have a link to this down below, but in the standings right next to it, it says other match days, and you can check per day, or you can do the overview, which is everything. So it makes it really easy to find out. Match day 4, this is going to be happening today, April 5th on Monday. And these all start at, let's see, this is 4 o'clock Central, so 5 o'clock Eastern. In the first round, I think these are pretty predictable. It's just a matter of what version of Sonic shows up. They've looked really, really good, and then other times they look kind of subtle. But I think United Sonics could probably go the distance. Oxygen, Kansas City Pioneers should win. Rogue should dominate Alpine. And quite honestly, I don't know what version of version 1 is going to show up, but Energy should probably win that one and remain undefeated. We then get into round 2. Rogue United, FaZe G2, Energy Envy. That's a really good series. V1 Alpine, V1 should win. XSET Space Station. We'll see what XSET has against Space Station, because XSET, again, still surprises me. Sonics over Oxygen. Oxygen probably... Oh, that's another close one. Kansas City Pioneers should beat Charlotte Phoenix, and then PK should beat La Familia. If La Familia is going to get a win, I honestly don't know who it's going to be against. I thought it would have been against someone like XSET or something, but XSET's been looking good. Then get into round 3, and it's Alpine Envy, La Familia KCP, Charlotte Phoenix Sonics, Oxygen Rogue, United V1, PK XSET, Energy FaZe, good series, G2 Space Station, great series. Then in the 4th and final round, all the teams that did not start in the first round with the delayed start times, La Familia versus XSET, Space Station versus FaZe, G2 versus Envy, and Charlotte Phoenix versus PK. All pretty close matches, actually. Although I do think with XSET, it's going to be a little bit otherwise. Probably the highlight matches for me: Space Station FaZe, G2 Envy, G2 Space Station, and Energy FaZe. Those 4 matches are going to be pretty dang good. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to watch all of them. So pretty straightforward. If you guys want more information, as I mentioned in the description down below, but those are the matches as they are written up and drawn out for day 3 recap and day 4. Again, as a reminder, those matches will be going down today, starting at 5 o'clock Eastern. We then take a look and a peek at North America Regional Event number 2. And unfortunately, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there is no groups finalized for this yet. We do not know those. We'll probably find these out most likely on Tuesday. Usually they wait a little bit too long on these, in my opinion. I wish these were figured out immediately after the teams have qualified. And that's pretty much where I'm going to focus on this. We already know the teams that are automatically built in: Energy, Envy, FaZe Clan, G2, Pioneers, Sonics, V1, Rogue, Charlotte Phoenix, Ghost Gaming, XSET, Space Station, as expected. But the teams that qualified: SUP, 72PC, United, Nefarious, Alpine, PK, Scuba Squad, and Stromboli. These matches will be starting on the 8th of April, and keep in mind that day 0 is what these will be. The Thursday matches will be presented by each of the organizations. So for myself and Supersonic, will be covering the version 1 broadcast, and then all of the other teams will also be covering their own. If you'd like links to the teams and their streams, these will also be at the very bottom of the page. You can have expectations. Whatever teams cover the grid will also cover the regional matches as well for the RLCS on day 0. This is a round robin again, where these teams will play 3 matches at the beginning of their group, and eventually they either play 3 matches on the day or they play 2 matches, and then they do the remaining ones on the next day, depending on how buys work out. So after we have our 2 days of round robin stuff, the first day being on the broadcast presented by the organizations, the second day, or day 1, being presented by RLCS on the Rocket League broadcast, we then get into day 3, which is the knockout round, double elimination. High seeds get a bye, 2 chances to lose, low seeds, single elimination all the way through. Not going to know any of that information until we see it, obviously. And then day 4, 4th and final day, single elimination bracket, top 8. Teams that I'm focusing on: obviously Scuba Squad, a new name coming in. This is Angel, Shay, and Oath that are coming together. Other than that, we've seen all these iterations of these teams. SUP, also a talented team with Mile, Money, and Stokely. Money being the newest addition to that roster iteration, seeing if they can pull some stuff out. Stromboli, an old roster coming back with Alraz, Shadow, and Kinsey. Now that Kinsey has had his hiatus, he's come back after a little bit of a break. So other than that, a lot of familiar faces, which I kind of enjoy. I personally, even though it's open qualifier and there is a lot of teams that are trying to compete, I do enjoy the continuation of a storyline, especially with rosters sticking together. Things that I'm probably going to be looking forward to, top of my head, is FaZe Clan. Can they continue to push into the top 4? Are you going to see, again, Sonics have a pop-off along with Kansas City Pioneers, who both went into semifinals until Kansas City Pioneers went and beat them? Are we going to get Roldiz or Raul coming in with domination as a coach? It worked really well last time, but they've been kind of iffy in the grid. Alpine Esports, are you guys going to bounce back? You've been having a rough up and down, and we haven't seen you guys really perform in that top 8 like a lot of us expected you to. They've been having a little bit of a struggle lately, even though we know their potential is actually on a really high side. Other sides for me is I want to know who's going to end up on top out of the big dogs. Will Rogue continue dominance? Can Energy's continued success carry over from the grid? How is Envy going to do? Because I do think Envy's been playing really, really well. G2 Adrees, how is that going to go with his first introduction into a regional as compared to just the grid? It's a little bit more pressure, some more on the line there. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. I think Space Station also playing really well. So a lot of these teams, a little bit of a break in North America compared to Europe. I forget who put out the stat. I think it was Rockets from RL Stats, but he put out a tweet talking about like how many different days are in each individual season, or split, I should say, between the fall, winter, and spring split. I think the winter split has like 60 some days, like 67 days or something like that, to finish all the regionals, all the grid matches. And there's like X amount of series that is like just shy of 300. And then you look at the spring split and it's 39 days to do 305 series. Like it's something ridiculous. I forget the exact stat. Maybe Wojtek can put it up on the tweets, but it is kind of absurd to see that this many matches is happening in this amount of time, and really shows just how much these guys are really playing when you see it in a visual side of it. So I do know North America is pretty happy they got a few days off, as long as they weren't doing open qualifier stuff. A lot of the top teams had legitimately like 3-4 days off before they have to come back into it, with grid stuff here and there. So I know these players are starting to get to the end of their kind of end of their fuse. They are grinding it and running pretty thin. So I know a lot of them after this regional are looking forward to hopefully having a little bit of a break, and even more so after regional 3, then getting that like month off before they get into the major. So yeah, it's coming down to the wire. I'm excited to see how the results play out, and I'll do my best. The more and more we get towards the end of this split and this season, the more and more weight is going to be applied to the World Championship spots. So a lot of, I guess, like rankings watch videos of like, yo, these guys are still in the running, this is who's still left. So trying to keep you guys up to date on who potentially is going to the World Championship and who I think has the best shot if it happens. Again, always an if on this one, which is really unfortunate. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, drop those in the comments down below. But that is going to do it for me in this video. If you enjoyed the content, thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.